Hi all, you are watching a segment of the Countdown program from October 12, 2023. Today is Thursday. See the full version of this program on the Patreon resource. The analytical program, Postscript, will also be released there today. More on its topics a little later, but now to the most important thing. Today, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Israel. Before flying from Washington to Tel Aviv, Blinken said that the United States stands with Israel, today, tomorrow and every day. We stand firmly against terrorism, and we have seen almost unspeakable acts committed by Hamas, he added, calling the situation simply heartbreaking. Blinken said he would meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu in Israel, as well as President Isaac Herzog and other senior officials. The U.S. Secretary of State confirmed that the United States will provide Israel with everything it needs. And U.S. President Biden said the day before that if Israel disappeared, not a single Jew on the planet would be safe, warning Iran, be careful. This statement is justified, since terrorists are already calling for a planetary pogrom against Jews on Friday, October 13. And Hezbollah, controlled by Iran, has a huge arsenal of missiles that can deal Israel a blow that will be very difficult to recover from. Israel is now preparing for a ground operation in the Gaza Strip. A huge number of troops have already been assembled in southern Israel, along with large numbers of tanks and other armored vehicles. There is less clarity about when the order will be given and what the ultimate goals are. Officials are talking about creating a new Middle East reality, essentially a Gaza without Hamas. And there is reason to believe that this operation will surpass in scale and scope all previous similar operations. According to Turkish journalists, Hamas is holding hostage at least 150 people kidnapped by militants in Israel. Turkey is negotiating with Hamas over the release of the hostages. At the same time, the death toll in Israel reached 1,300 people, more than 3,300 people were injured. Politicians around the world are expressing their views on Islamist movements attacking Israel. The German Interior Ministry will ban the activities of Hamas in Germany, as well as organizations that glorify its attacks, said German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. He said an attack on Israel by third parties, including Hezbollah, would be an unforgivable mistake. Israeli Energy Minister Israel Katz said that until Hamas militants release residents taken hostage in the weekend attack, Israel will not lift the blockade on the Gaza Strip. Humanitarian aid to Gaza: not a single electrical switch will be turned on, not a single water hydrant will be opened, not a single fuel tanker will enter until the kidnapped Israelis are returned home, he wrote on the social network X. Watch this and other stories in full on Patreon. Become our patrons right now and look further in this program. The Rashists have an offensive escalation in the Avdiivka area. They die, but they crawl. Meanwhile, military experts conclude that the limited successes of the invaders in this area will not lead to any strategic victories. The world is in the second phase of World War III, and the head of the Ukrainian intelligence agency, Kirill Budanov, agrees with this thesis, who in his interview with journalists did not rule out humanity sliding into a big war. On the one hand, the Kremlin is inciting wars, on the other, it is trying to save the situation inside Russia. It is no longer possible to do without the supports of totalitarianism. Volodin opened a front against the relocants, Rogozin snitched on Friedman, and Metropolitan of Pskov Tikhon Shevchenov was exiled to the Crimean Diocese to pray for victory. Putin himself is resuscitating the ruble, which, within the framework of schematomics, is already in very bad shape. Watch in the program, Postscript. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz called the silence of the Palestinian authorities shameful. And he said that Germany would temporarily suspend funding for development projects in the Palestinian territories. Meanwhile, a group of independent UN experts on Thursday condemned violence against civilians in Israel. At the same time, the UN itself has not adopted any resolution regarding the Hamas attack on Israel. It turns out that Jewish children can be killed and beheaded, and any response to this is outright genocide. Iconic actor Robert De Niro literally tore Trump to shreds in his public speech, calling him an evil man with no morals or ethics. Trump has no sense of right and wrong, no respect for anyone but himself, De Niro said. And that is all. Our entire programs are only on Patreon. Become our patrons and watch all our videos without restrictions. And I welcome everyone to subscribe to our Patreon right now. Hugs to everyone. See you tomorrow on Friday Live. Glory to Ukraine.